boleh. Jadi, bravo.
Hello, can everybody hear me clearly? Okay, I just want to apologize because today I have got flu and fever, so my voice won't be very clear just because my nose is blocked and my throat is very painful. So I will quickly go through the things today, and basically I plan to show you how you have to do the research proposal later on. But I don't know what's the problem why this research proposal is not uploading. I will try to upload it once again so everybody know how you have to do your proposal, because that assignment will have around 70% mark. So so let me see if I can upload it, so then I can. Okay, luckily I got it on. Okay, I just want to ask you everyone that do you know how the previous students have done the proposal? Like, what was the format for the previous students to do the proposal? If anybody knows it. Okay. Uh, okay, no problem. Now, let me explain a few things to you before we can go to today's class. Actually, there are two approaches. Because I've done my master's from UK. So in UK, proposal is exactly like what a proposal looks like, because most of you people are working in different organizations and different NGOs and different type of places. And in those places, you make one proposal. So in proposal, you propose something. You have to say that you will do this thing and this thing, and you will require these type of things. So that's called a proposal. And whereas in Malaysia, the proposal concept is a bit different, right? So if everybody can see this Word file, can everyone see the Word file? Okay, so basically in this format for proposal, this is a UK format, and this is much easier than what people do in Malaysia. So I will explain this, and then I'll also explain the Malaysian proposal. So whatever is easy for you, I will ask you people. Whatever is easy for you, you can tell me, then I can give you the same assignment for whatever you feel is better. For me, UK style is better, right? So let me explain this, how this one works. In UK style, first of all, you have to put the title, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to study, so it would become your title. After the title, you have to provide some justification of the study. Basically, justification means that why you want to do this study and what is the importance of this study, right? So later after the class, I will send you this proposal to everyone, so you can see that how people actually write justification. So in this whole paragraph, people talk about what is so important about this research and why should people study this type of thing. So this is all justification, around 2 pages. Then the third heading is aim of the research, which is almost in everywhere you have to write it. Aim and objectives, right? So this is aim and objectives of the research. So you have to mention the aims and objectives of the research. Then this one is relevant academic theme. Uh, Basically, academic theme means, because uh, if you remember in the start when we started this class, I asked different people what type of research you want to do. Some people said I want to do finance, some people said they want to do HR, some people said they want to do marketing. So these are called academic themes. But now everybody knows that if I tell someone that I am studying marketing, marketing is a very wide and very broad term. So I have to be very specific. Similarly, if somebody says that I want to study finance, now finance is also very broad. So you have to specify what exactly is your theme. In this case, in this research, this is also marketing, but in marketing it is related to e-word of mouth, electronic word of mouth, or traditional word of mouth. Like when people discuss things online or amongst the friends or these type of things. So these are a few definitions about the academic theme, right? And then here are a few references, maybe 6 or 7 references. These references are those references which are related to your research area. Now, if you remember, I gave you one assignment in the start in which I asked you that download 3 papers related to your topic. So this is exactly the same. And now, let's see if I go to page number 1, and if we look at this title says effects of word of mouth on tourist perception of destination image and destination choice. Now, do remember what is this title, okay? Just remember it. And if I come here, just look at this one. This is very much related to what is the title of this research. See, factors influencing destination image. Similarly, information sources for travel decisions. So what I just want to say is that these 6 or 7 references are exactly what people are doing and what you want to do. It's exactly the same references, similar to your study, right? Then another thing you want to mention in the proposal is type of data employed. So you have to mention that when you will do this research, what type of data you will need, like primary data and secondary data. So you have to mention that if you want to do primary data, from where will the primary data come? Like for example, in this research, in this proposal, I mentioned that we want to collect primary data using a questionnaire. Now, the decision to collect data using a questionnaire is because of time. Now remember, I told you in the start that research method is always about not what you are selecting, but about what you are selecting and why you are selecting. So later when I send you this proposal, if you read it, you will see that whatever this person in the proposal have selected, like for example, if he selected to use questionnaire, then he has mentioned why he is using questionnaire, why he is not using, let's say, interview or observation or any other type, why he is using. So this is something like this. And then this next paragraph here, in this paragraph it says about secondary data, from where will the secondary data come. Then talks about the population and the sampling, right? How many people will give this data collection, these type of things. Then it talks about data analysis, what type of data analysis you will do, and what will be your hypothesis for your study. And if you want, you can just make a diagram of your hypothesis if you want. And then just some direction for future research, and then you have to put the references. These are those references which you have used in making the proposal, right? So this is basically British style of proposal, in which from everywhere you put small parts and you will say that what you will do in the future. For me this makes sense because it's much easier, right? It's much easier. And if you, for example, let's say if you look at this proposal is just 7 or 8 pages. Now for example, if you make the proposal and then we discuss it and then you realize that no, this is not something very important or you can't work on it, so you won't waste a lot of time and energy because it's just 7 or 8 pages. So even if you are wrong, you can do it again. This is, again I'm telling you, this is the British style of doing the proposal, British or American or European style. From the West, this is the style of making the proposal. Now let's come to Malaysian style of doing it. So if anybody have questions in this style of proposal, you can ask now before I go to Malaysian style of proposals. Okay. So okay. Usually when you, it doesn't matter in the world, wherever you go, whenever you have to do your thesis have this format. So I guess everybody knows that wherever you go, basically when you are writing a thesis or a research project, this is the format. So you have 5 chapters: chapter 1 introduction, literature review, research methodology, finding, analysis and conclusion. I don't know about the format of WWS, but usually internationally the standard for MBA thesis is around 20,000 words. Which makes around 80 to 100 pages altogether. So this is basically an international requirement. When you are doing an MBA, you have to write it, this, right? Okay, now Malaysian style of writing proposal is like this. You start exactly from chapter 1 and you finish till chapter 3. By the time you finish chapter 3, so you have already done introduction, you have already done literature review, you have already done research methodology. These 3 chapters will make your proposal. So what Malaysian style is, this box, whatever is inside the box, this is called the research proposal, right? So if your thesis is around 20,000 words, 80 to 100 pages, for your proposal, you already make around 40 to 45 pages. So after you finish 40 to 45 pages, this is your proposal, then you show it to your teachers or whoever. Now if the teacher says that there is a problem with this proposal or you can't do it or whatever, now you really waste a lot of time because you have spent your energy, you have spent your time and all those things on making these 40 to 45 pages, and you have to go all again, right? So this is basically Malaysian style. Because I came to Malaysia last year in September, and this is what I have done for my PhD as well. Now I came last year to Malaysia. I started my PhD proposal. In my second semester, I finished my proposal just like these 3 chapters, and I did my proposal defense and I passed it in second semester. PhD is 6 semesters. Now I have no idea what should I do, because I can even simply submit my full thesis by next semester. So I can finish my PhD in 1.5 years, but it's not worth, because if I tell anybody I've finished my PhD in 1.5 years, people will laugh at me. So for me, this style is a bit strange. To be very frank, I don't understand why people do like this. To finish 3 chapters, and if it's okay, then go ahead. I don't know, Vida, I think she is doing PhD here. So I don't know if she wants to talk something about it, if she has already experienced the same thing here in Malaysia in the university. She wants to talk, then I can unmute her. And okay. Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Thank you so much. I wish you more health. I fear you have flu. Yeah. Hello and good evening to my colleagues, also to my friends. Yes, actually, I have the same things. I'm in the 6th semester of my PhD, and yes, you are right. Actually, we finish our proposal in semester 1 and 2. But my proposal takes longer a little bit because I do change my proposal 2 times. I was working in the internet usage in the medicine and in health. But unfortunately, in Malaysia, nobody knows about this the events and these things so much. And I was afraid that maybe something come to me for my defense. Then I changed my proposal to the job performance and leadership style among nurses and I see nurse leaders in Malaysia. And now in the 6th semester, I don't know, how do you collect your data? Do you have some questionnaire, or you do your PhD in the experimental or something?
No, I have to collect questionnaires from different countries. So I've already collected maybe around 800 questionnaires. I have to go around.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. My questionnaire actually, the question should be collected among the hospitals. It's supposed to be 1 month only, but it takes 5 months for me to collect all of them. I beg them a lot to finish to fill my questionnaires and send them back. Then it takes around 5 months to me to collect all the questionnaires. But my response rate is about 96%. It's a very high response rate in medicine. In medicine, especially because they don't easily fill up your forms normally.
Yes.
But this is good. Then now I'm in my analysis in semester 6. But they don't allow you normally to finish the PhD so fast, because they tell you always, I don't know, maybe in Malaysia only, I have experience here. They tell you should play with your data and make more and more paper that you can. Then this long time is for you to rest and to think. Again, rest and think. Maybe something new comes to your mind, something you can add to your proposal or even your research. Then they give you much more time. But less than 3 years for us in medicine, they don't allow. My friend also was like you. She finished very fast, but they keep them 7 months. They keep her 7 months to play with data only, then bring out the new things. Yes, you are right.
Vida, for me the things are a bit different, because if I talk about myself, then since I started my PhD last year in September, now my 2 papers are under ISI journal what reviews, 2 papers are already published in Scopus. I've got one best paper award in a conference. So it's not a problem. Like what I'm just trying to explain here is that for me, this concept of proposal in Malaysia is a bit different. You know, because I never heard of this thing that you finish 3 chapters and it become your proposal. Now, as you mentioned, you are in your 6th semester and you recently finished your proposal. Now you are playing with your data, right? Now, what
actually, no. My proposal last year, this time, my proposal was accepted.
Okay, so
because we have also the ethics committee. Ethics committee in medical university is very difficult. Passing from ethics committee takes 3 months. Last year, this month, my proposal was accepted. Then I was before accepting the proposal, we cannot go for data collection at all. We cannot.
Yes, exactly. You cannot. You see, what I'm trying to explain to the students in the class is because most of the students in the class are for MBA, right? They are not for PhD. Now, what my point is that I actually personally, if it's about me, I will not recommend doing this style of proposal, asking for MBA students do 40 to 45 pages, do 3 chapters, and then because there's a big risk. You see. Most of the students here are part-time, not full-time students, right? Then I also see when I give assignments, then a lot of students do not have access to different databases and journals, right? So they can't download articles. Now, with that type of situation, they don't have a lot of time to really write down 45 or 50 pages for proposal, and then later I tell them this is a problem, you have to do it again.
Exactly.
So, yeah, my only concern is that's why I explained this Malaysian concept and also the Western concept of proposal. So, and that's why I'm discussing it with you in front of the class so everybody can hear it clearly. And then I leave it up to you because whatever the students think they are easy to go with, I have no problem. If they think these 3 chapters are fine, okay, fine, you do 3 chapters for proposal. Because this is your final assignment and it's 70% marks. If students think that UK style or Westerner style is better, 7, 8 pages, then it's okay. I can give you that assignment, you can do that one.
Can I suggest? Because I
yes, sure.
Yes, I think actually this doing 3 chapters is very real. I know that it might be a little bit difficult for us. As a student, we have all do something. I know that my Afghan friends, all of them are actually working so hard. But I think this chapter 1 to 3 is much more real, you know, because of the future time. Because for assignment 10 pages, we did it so many times during our 3 semester. We are in the last semester. It is better to do it. Maybe it is a little bit time consumer for us, but this is more real. They know that what is a proposal, real proposal is. With this 3 chapter, I suppose I think it's gonna be better, but I'm sure you know better than me, of course, or maybe the other guys have some idea. But this one is more real.
You know, basically my own concern is this. Okay, I don't know because I personally don't like this type of teaching because we cannot really interact a lot, right?
Yes.
Now I really wanted to teach people, all you students, because for me all of you are very special. I know that most of you are working and it's a huge pressure, and basically my concern was to teach people something practical. Like what you said, this 3 chapter is more real, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now for me, I actually wanted that if possible, but it's not possible here, that I teach these students SPSS because it would help them in their proposal, in their whatever MBA, if they want to go for PhD, if they want to go later for the jobs anywhere, this SPSS will work. I mean, it will help them a lot, right? So my personal intention was to do all those practical things for the students. I don't know, I cannot do it because I cannot upload a lot of files here, right? Okay, what you said and what some other students are discussing, let me clear one thing to you. Basically, these 3 chapters and the Westerner style, it has not a lot of difference. The only difference is literature review, right? If you remember, just now I showed you that Westerner style. So it has the title, aims, objectives, justification, right? These are those things which you already put in chapter 1, right? And then there are some other things like, for example, data collection or sampling or data analysis or those type of things. These things you already put in research methodology chapter 3. What I just wanted to do in proposal is avoid students to go for very deep literature review. Why? The only reason why I am saying this is because students first have no access. Secondly, I'm just afraid if one student is going on a wrong way, he will spend a lot of energy on a wrong thing and later he will have to change it. And my intention was that the last 2 classes I will be discussing everybody's proposal in the class, just like this. Whoever wants to discuss his proposal, any idea related to research proposal or project, then I can give you suggestions and I can tell you whether you are going right or wrong. So if students are doing literature review, it's too lengthy for me to read all that and then suggest you things, right? So this is my basic idea, but still it depends on the whole class. For me, both are okay. If some students want to do this style, it's okay. If somebody wants to do that style, it's okay. For me, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. So does anybody else want to say anything so I can unmute you and then you can talk? Hello? Well, no, actually, see, I can't do this, that some students do this style, some students do that style, because that would be difficult for me to mark everyone. We have to decide it here. I mean, we have to decide it here. See, let me clarify one thing to you, okay? The only difference between these 2 styles is the only difference. In Malaysian style, before you know that you are doing it correct or wrong, you will do a lot of literature review. This is the only difference. See, this 40 to 45 pages, this includes 20 to 25 pages of literature review, right? Now, the only reason why I am saying all this is that I don't want the students to, because see, all the students here in this class have limited time and resources, and my only problem is that because I've checked assignments, right? So looking at those assignments, why this is what I'm suggesting, that because of your limited time and resources, I don't want a lot of students, they go in a wrong direction, waste their time and resources. So what I want is that my suggestion again, students should do the Western style, then we discuss it then we discuss it in the class with all the students, how they are doing. We have to make sure that they are doing it correct. Once it's correct, yes, then you proceed on it and then you do your literature review and everything. This way, the time, the resources, energy, everything will be saved for the students. This is my only concern. Another thing is that by now I don't know what's the format of WWS for your project or thesis or whatever. So by next class I'll ask them to send me what is their format, how many words or whatever. So we'll have better picture, right? Okay, so I just want to have a quick poll type of thing from all the students. What the students want? Do they want to go with the UK style or this Malaysian style? Okay, so let's do it this way. UK style, I already explained it earlier that how you have to do this proposal according to UK style, right? If anybody have any questions now, you can ask so I can explain it, and then we can proceed further, because this is much practical. Even I show PowerPoint slides to you, I will be showing because it's related to questionnaire and it's important for you people to understand. But if anybody have any questions with this UK style of proposal, you can ask me, and you people can start working on it, right? I'll give you the deadline of this assignment, and before that, if we have two classes or I think two classes, then we will be discussing everybody's proposal in class. So every student gets 10 to 15 minutes to discuss about whatever he's doing. Okay, so I believe that there is no question about this. Okay, so I believe there is no question about this. So let's proceed with the PowerPoint slide. Okay, today's PowerPoint slides are about using questionnaires to collect your primary data, right? Now remember that most of the people, they use questionnaires to collect the data. If they are using quantitative analysis or quantitative studies, most of them use questionnaires to collect the data, right? Okay. What does questionnaire mean? It's just a technique of data collection or one method of data collection in which one person is asked similar questions like other people in a predetermined order. Now remember, there are a few things here in this. There are a few characteristics in this definition. First characteristic is same set of questions. So remember, when you are developing a questionnaire, every questionnaire should be same. It must have same questions, because if you are giving questionnaire to 50 people, questionnaire must have same questions. Another thing is predetermined order. Before you distribute your questionnaires, you must know which questions should be put in which place or which area. So you must know this. This is predetermined order. This is important for questionnaire. Why and when we use questionnaire? If you have any study like explanatory study or descriptive research, you use questionnaire. Now if you remember, in the start we talked about in the previous classes what is exploratory or what is explanatory or descriptive research. Descriptive and explanatory research are just those researches in which you talk about the relationship about different variables, right? So in those type of cases, you will use questionnaires, right? Let me give you an example. Okay, let's go ahead. People also use questionnaires with some other data collection tools just to improve the data collection rate or validity or reliability. So what happens is, let's say if you want to talk about the performance of the class, right? Now performance of the class, in this class there are 30 students. What you do is, you collect 20 questionnaires, right? Now the answers which come from questionnaire, remember what we talked just now is that in questionnaire the questions are similar and predetermined. So you don't, when you collect the answers are already set. You know that the answer will be one of these, right? Let's say If there is one question and under the question there are two options, male and female, you know answer would be either of them, either male, either female. So in questionnaires, because the question answers are already there, so you know that what will be the answers. They have one range, right? So what sometimes people do is, in this case, for example, if you want to check the performance of the class, there are 30 students, you collect 20 questionnaires. Some people would also go for free interviews with the students. In the interview, they ask them questions and they let them talk. So when those students are talking, they talk anything they want. Like, it's not predetermined. So you get more of the quality. So sometimes people also do this, that they use different type of methods to do the research. So during that, you can also use questionnaire. Okay, another thing is that if you have a larger sample, like if you have sample of 5,000 people, 10,000 people, so in that case you cannot interview all of them. Then you have to use questionnaire for collecting the data. Basically, types of questionnaire, there are two types. One is called self-administered, one is called an interviewer-administered. A self-administered question and interviewer. Self-administer means that the person who is filling the questionnaire, like your respondent, he is personally looking after the questionnaire and filling it, right? Interviewer-administered means that the person who is collecting the data, he is standing with the person who is filling the data and filling. Let's say this example, 20 questionnaires, right? Okay, now there is one student, I go to that student and I ask him to fill my questionnaire. Then I sit with him and he is filling the questionnaire, and if he do not understand anything, he asks me different questions about my questionnaire, and so this type of case is called interviewer administered, because in this one, the interviewer, the person who is collecting the data, he is already there looking at the things. The other one is self-administered. In this case, I post my questionnaire to the student. He is looking at him. There is no interviewer. He fills it and he sends it back to me. So this type of case is called self-administered. The person is looking. Now there are different types. Interviewer administered, there can be telephone questionnaire. So you call someone on the phone and you talk to him on the phone and he is answering your questions. This is called telephone questionnaire. Structured interview, you go face to face, sit and talk with each other. This is called structured interview. These days there's another one called internet questionnaire. People talk on Skype or just like this class we are talking on the internet. So this is also one part. Whereas in self-administered, people email the questions. The other people open it, fill it and send it back. Similarly, people post the questions and also you can go deliver the questionnaires and then later you can collect them back. So these are different types of questionnaires. Okay. Now when you are developing a questionnaire, right, there are a few things. Well, Shakirullah, it's not about which one is more effective. You see, you must always remember that when we are talking about research methods, right, there are different methods. There is no method which is bad or there is no method which is good. It all depends on what your research objective or what is your research all about. You have to make sure that you pick up that method which suits your research objectives. Now, if I am in Malaysia and I want to collect data in Kabul, of course I will not spend money and go there so much. Maybe I can take a few people, call them, talk to them on the phone and collect my data. Maybe I can post the questionnaires and those people fill it and post it back to me, right? So it's just all about what you are actually doing. So you have to pick up some methods related to your research. Now, when you want to do questionnaire, when you want to select a questionnaire, there are a few things you have to look at, right? The first thing is characteristics of the respondents and access. You have to make sure that those people, what are their characteristics and whether you can access them or not. Now, in the start, in the previous classes, if you remember, I always give one example of if you want to do a research on housewives in Kabul. Now, you must understand one thing, that whether if you write that questionnaire in English, do you think a lot of housewives will understand it? And other, do you have access to those people when you are developing a questionnaire? So this thing must be ensured in the start, that what are the characteristics of the respondents and how will you access them. Another thing, again, very important, which Veda was just talking, you must make sure that you are developing a questionnaire in which the answers are not distorted or you do not play with the answers, with the data. Because sometimes it happens, people, when they are developing questionnaire, they develop it in a way where the answers will come and then they can make some type of changes in the answers, right? Yes, exactly, Asif. Questionnaire should always be developed on particular objectives. These are different factors what makes you select one type of questionnaire, right? Okay, another thing is size of sample required for analysis. This is also important. You must know about your sample size. You must also know what type of questions and how many questions you are going to use. And then the last thing, which is these days very important, you must know if there are any other resources available like internet or anything like this, right? So these are different type of factors. You must make sure you are aware of these things while you are developing your questionnaire. Okay. Before you develop questionnaire and you go in the field to collect data, you must know all these things. And for your proposal, it's important. Precisely define questions. You must know what exactly you want to ask. If you don't know it and you just ask different stupid questions, it makes no sense. You must precisely know what you want to ask. Your sample should be accurate and representative. I have mentioned it again and again in the sampling class. Okay, this one, an understanding of the organizational context. This can be something like where you are collecting data, you must be aware of the context. Yes, exactly, Harun. You are right. If you are collecting data, let's say in Kabul, you must know the context. What is the context? You must know the culture. You must know how the things are going on. If you want to collect data in Kuala Lumpur, you must know the culture. You must know how people are dealing with all these things. So an understanding of the context is important. Most important, last class we talked about conceptual framework. You must also know that what is your dependent variable, what is your independent variable, what type of variables you have, and what is the relationship between them. So this is also important, and exactly what types of variables you are using. Now this is one table, maybe you can, when I send you the slides, maybe you can use it. What is your research question and objective? Type of research, whether qualitative and quantitative. What variables you need? What type of data you need to capture those variables? And then check if your questionnaire includes the question for these type of things. I will explain it with an example later on. Okay. Now, remember, when you are collecting a data, you are developing. When you are developing your questionnaire, it's also very important to make sure that this questionnaire should be reliable and valid, right? What does actually reliable and valid mean? To make it very simple, one means that if you want to, there was one boy who was writing something just now in the chat. It's already gone. Yes, from Harun Sahab. He said that questionnaire, the questions should reflect what data I need to collect exactly. So by reliable, it just means that the questions you are using in the questionnaire to measure something, are they really measuring it or not? And the second thing is that the answers you will get from this questionnaire, will these answers be generalized in other contexts or not? So if you want to, let's say, measure satisfaction of students, now in satisfaction of students, you must have different questions like it's okay. It's okay. If we are let's say if we are measuring satisfaction of students, so let's say in the questionnaire we ask them three questions. Are they satisfied with university staff? Are they satisfied with academic facilities? Are they satisfied with non-academic facilities? Now these are three questions I'm asking from students to check their satisfaction, right? But before I go for data analysis, I must make sure that these questions are valid and reliable, right? To be very frank, very simply, it just means that these three questions, are they really measuring satisfaction? Are they really trying to find out satisfaction or not? Another thing is, if I do this research in Kabul, I also have to make sure that will this research produce the same results if I do it in Kuala Lumpur or not, right? So these type of things you have to make sure. This is just called reliability and validity. Now there are different methods to make sure that your questionnaire is reliable and valid. We will discuss them now. These are different stages. If you really want to make sure that your questionnaires are reliable and valid, you have to go through these stages, right? First of all, it's very important that the researcher is clear about what type of data he needs and what type of questions he needs to design. If you are clear about it, it means you are you are good to go. Then you make questions in a way which, because you are already clear that what type of questions you need, then you make questions in that way. Then you collect the answers from the people, and then you have to make sure that the answers are input in the software or in your analysis exactly the way what the respondent answered you. So don't change anything in it. These are the first four things you have to make sure. Okay, now we have four types of validity: internal validity, content validity, criterion, and construct, right? Okay, the first one is internal validity. It's also called face validity, right? Now remember, when you develop a questionnaire, right? Let's say you developed a questionnaire, it's having 40 or 50 questions. Now what you will do is you will send it, let's say if you developed a questionnaire in English, you send it to some English expert. That English expert will look at that questionnaire, tell you if the structure of the questionnaire is good or not. He will also tell you if there are any small grammatical mistakes or any sentence English mistakes or these type of things. So you will have to change them according to the suggestions of that expert, right? So this is one thing. Then another thing is these are different type of steps. What you have to take, you have to take these steps to make sure that your questionnaire is valid, not reliable, valid. One, you have to show your questionnaire to language experts, right? They have to make sure the structure is okay. Then you have to show your questionnaire to subject expert. Now let's say if somebody is doing a research in finance, so after you develop your questionnaire, you show it to financial experts, those people who are good at finance. So they look at it and then they will tell you if this questionnaire is a good one or a bad one, right? This one. The third one is that make sure all the questions you are using in your questionnaire, they are taken from previous studies. Previous studies means that in literature review somebody else would have done some type of research related to your research, so you take the questions from them. This is the third step to make sure that your questionnaire is valid. You can conduct a pre-test. This pre-test, 5 to 8 people experts. Now this one is also related to the same. These are this number 4 is related to the first two. Actually, when you do this pre-test, what you do is so basically when you do a pre-test, you give it to 5 to 8 experts and ask them to fill it. Then they will check if the length of the questionnaire is okay. If when you read the questions, can people understand it? Does it really make sure that you are what you want to measure, you are measuring it? And then they also check that how much time it will take to fill up this questionnaire. So these are different 4 or 5 steps to ensure the validity of your questionnaire, right? So you make sure that these are the validity points. Now there is another thing which is called reliability, right? Remember, reliability is always done where you are using a multiple item scale. Multiple item means this. Like I mentioned satisfaction of students. Now for satisfaction, what we are doing is we are using 3 questions to examine the satisfaction of students. Not one question, there are 3 questions. So these 3 questions will give the satisfaction of the students. So in this case, because we are using more than one question to examine one variable, so we have to make sure that all these 3 items are reliable, right? For this, for pilot, for reliability, we do a pilot test. Pilot test includes 30 to 40 respondents. Now remember, these 30 to 40 respondents should be your actual respondents in your actual survey. Now let's say if you want to do a research on the satisfaction of students in Kabul universities, you cannot go to Kuala Lumpur and do your pilot test on the students studying in Kuala Lumpur universities. No. Your pilot test, these 30-40 people should also be from Kabul university. So they have same characteristics. Now once you get these 30 to 40 respondents, there is one test called reliability test. So you have to do this reliability test. This test will tell you whether or not the questions you are using are reliable or not. So this is all about reliability and validity of the questions. Okay, now let's talk about the different types of questions which you can use in the questionnaire. There is one thing called open question. In open question, you ask a question and leave the space open. People can write anything. Like this example, please list up to 3 things you like about your job. Now people can answer anything because it's open-ended question. There are 3 open places. So another one is called list question. Let's say, what is your religion? Please tick the appropriate box. So these are different. This is a list, and you can select either of them. Then there are categories. How often do you visit shopping center? So you make different categories. Something like age, income. These are different categories. You make a category. Then there is a ranking question. Now in ranking question, let's say you give 4 or 5 options to people and you ask them that rank them according to the most important and least important. So they can rank them. Then there is a rating question, like I say, are you satisfied with this class? And then you can rate it, agree, somewhat disagree or disagree, these type of things. Then there are quantity questions in which you have to write a quantity. Okay, now when you are doing a questionnaire, there are a few things you need to be very, very careful. In validity, I just mentioned that make sure your questions are taken from the previous studies, right? So if you are doing this, make sure that you do not destroy a copyright, because sometimes people, they develop their questionnaires and they don't want other people use it. So make sure you don't use any copyrighted thing, right? It's not good. Question wordings, when you are asking the questions, make sure the wording are correct. Yeah, translation of the questions in other languages. This is also very important. Sometimes, like I am doing my research in China, so I develop a questionnaire in English, and then somebody have to translate it into Chinese. Now when they translate it in Chinese, sometimes the questions change their meaning, right? So this is also very important. In order to avoid this, what you can do is, like for example, in my case, I translate my English questionnaire to Chinese. Once it's translated, then I give that Chinese translation to another expert and ask him to retranslate it back to English. Another person, when he retranslates it back to English, Then I check the first English and the second English questionnaire and check if there is any difference in the meaning of the question. If there is no difference, it means it's valid, it's fine, you can go ahead. If there is a difference, then you have to change those questions where there is a difference. Yes, sometimes people do pre-test and post-test as well, but that's another case. That's completely a different thing. It's related to the understanding of the respondents. It's something similar but a bit different. And also make sure that you know the coding of the questions. People do, yeah, it's called back-to-back translation or translate-retranslate. Okay, now when you construct the questionnaire, there are another thing, order and flow of the questions. Now, to make sure that the questionnaire you are developing, the order of the question is good. You can't ask a few questions, then ask them, is he a male or female? Then ask another few questions, then ask him, is his age, something like this. To make sure the flow of the questions is nice, the order of the questionnaire is good, the layout of the questionnaire is good. Sometimes when people give, because this is my profession, so I also get a lot of questionnaires to fill. Sometimes the font size is very little. It's very difficult to look at it. Sometimes people just want to save money, so they put 50 questions on one page. It's very difficult to answer anything on that page, right? So this questionnaire layout is also very important. Okay, now when you are doing the questionnaire, remember when you give questionnaire to someone, include a covering letter, right? What does covering letter means basically? Covering letter is one letter in which you talk what you are doing, what is your research about, right? You also talk about uh, your university name. You also talk about different type of ethical things, like you tell them that there is no problem if you fill this questionnaire, it's only for the academic purposes and this type of thing. So people know what's happening. And then when in the questionnaire, you should introduce different segments and different questions. And after that, this starting things, pilot test and validity is also important to check. There are different type of things, like I said, if you want to collect data from internet, or there are different type of websites now like SurveyMonkey or Google consumer responses. If you want to send it by post or delivery and collection, telephone, make sure that all of them remain separate. Don't mix them up because it will create trouble for you later on. So important. This is again the old thing. It's the family. Yeah, this is also important. Remember that your data validity, your reliability, your response rate, it all depends on how you have designed your questionnaire, how was your pilot test. Sometimes in pilot test, there are some problems in the questionnaire, people ignore them and later they will find problems. So make sure that in order to avoid problems later on, make sure that you are doing things exactly as pointed. If there is some problem with the pilot test, try to find solution for it by that time rather than leaving it for later on. Again, wording and orders of question and question types are very important. And closed-ended questions should be pre-coded to facilitate data input and analysis. On the Facebook group, I will share some videos about SPSS and how you can put the data in SPSS, so you people can go through it and it will be easier for you. Then again, the design features, the questionnaire should be very clear. Everything should be properly explained. And then you should properly introduce your questionnaire. Now, how you introduce it, let me share my questionnaire with you. Okay, now can everybody see this document? Okay, now if you look at this questionnaire, in the start there is a title, right? Here's a title, then dear respondent, then you introduce yourself, I am candidate of this, I am doing this, whatever is your research. Then you talk a little bit about the ethical things, that all your responses will be treated in confidence, your participation is voluntary, you may get out of the survey anytime you want, and whatever, your name, your from where do you come. So this, okay, then we have different type of screening questions. Now if you look, the layout is very easy, the gaps are proper, it's clear, right? And then every section is already properly mentioned, like this is screening question, this is profile of staying at a resort hotel, this is demographic questions. Now if you look at here, I had to make it short. Think carefully about each statement, please indicate the degree of your agreement. So you mention what type of questions are there, and then each section is properly identified so people know what is it going on, right? So, and any further suggestions, and then thank you for your participation. So this is how it looks like actually. When you are doing your questionnaire, make sure that you take care of all these type of things. Okay. So this was all about the questionnaire and how you should design it and different type of things. Now remember, in the last two classes I will give 10 to 15 minutes to each student. So you can talk about your proposal, whatever suggestions you need, and we'll have a discussion so everybody understands this whole research process. I don't want you that you have finished this MBA till here in the last semester and then there's some type of problem with your project. Everybody can go smoothly through it. So next class I will give you your final assignment as well, and then we will discuss about this everybody's proposal as well. So if any question about today's class or any other thing you want to ask, you can ask. Otherwise I'll finish the class because I'm not really feeling very well. Topic should be your own topic, Nasrat. I cannot give you a topic. It should be your own topic, whatever you like. You can do your research on that.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Good evening to you and to my class fellows, sir. I'm a little bit confused, sir. Regarding this research, it's our final project or it's a assignment, sir?
No. This is assignment. This has nothing to do with your project. But usually what people do is that when they do the proposal, then they do the same proposal and develop it into their project, right? Now what I want is that a lot of people have different problems with research and they don't understand. So in the last two classes I'll discuss your research proposal with you. So if you have any questions, how should you do this research, how should you collect data, how should you do what related to research, then I'll discuss it with you.
Okay, so in the meantime, till next class we should identify a topic regarding our research and we should discuss about that in the class, sir? Or we should make it like in a file and we should send it to you, sir.
No, don't do anything now. Next class I will tell you the assignment requirements and how you have to do it. Then you can do it, and I'll give you a deadline. So before that deadline, you have to do it.
Okay, that would be our final assignment, right?
Yes, that would be the final assignment for 70% more.
Okay, thank you, sir.
No problem. Okay, so if there are any other questions. Okay, thank you everybody. It's Mr. Arif, it would be individual assignment because it's related to your research. So If people do it in a group, it makes no sense. I know how groups work. Some people work, some don't work. So it's better you do it individually. Yes, Samir, your topic looks fine, but then we have to look at different other things like how will you collect data and different type of things. So we'll be discussing it. It's okay. If you are confident, if you like this topic, you just work on it. Don't worry. Okay. So thank you everybody. I'm sorry I'm not taking it a bit long because I'm not really feeling very well. So inshallah next week I'll be fine. Then we will take a class a bit longer. Okay. Thank you everyone and have a good night.